Hello everyone, welcome to Jumbo IAS. My name is Karan Singh Katoch and I welcome you to these CSAT classes by Jumbo IAS. We have completed time and work, we completed ratio and proportions, and I hope you enjoyed these two sessions and you learned something new. Today, I will start with reasoning. I'll discuss one of the chapter from reasoning and the name of this chapter is clocks. I have told you earlier that nowadays this paper, the questions from this paper are very difficult. What is the reason behind it? See, I told you earlier that what examiner is doing nowadays, he is coupling question of reasoning with questions of basic numeracy. So clock is one of the wonderful example of that coupling, because in clocks we will be using a little bit of time, speed and distance. So don't you worry, sir, we haven't completed time, speed, distance, how are we gonna do clocks? So don't you worry about it. I am with you. I gonna give you some shortcuts, I gonna give you some concepts, we gonna discuss some wonderful fundamentals regarding clocks. But whenever I talk about clock, the very first thing that comes to my mind is that, or I am expecting or I'm considering that you all know how to read a time. Sir, क्या बच्चों वाला क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया? It is very easy. We all know how to read time. So, what if I ask you what is the situation of minute hand and hour hand at sharp 3? So I think you all can imagine it. That sir, at sharp 3, a minute hand is pointing towards 12 and hour hand is pointing towards 3. Pretty easy. So what about a situation of 4 o'clock? Sir, at 4 o'clock, minute hand will point towards 12 and hour's hand will point towards 4. What if I ask you, what about 7:45? 7:45, sir. At 7:45, our hand will be somewhere between 7 and 8, more towards 8, and minute hand will point towards 9. So this is very simple. So what is all fuzz about clocks? See, in your paper, basically there are questions based upon angles between the hands. Okay, so let us learn all the fundas first. Let us learn all the formulas and concepts first, and then we will solve the questions of CSAT pertaining to clocks. So let's start. Okay, so I hope you know the geometry of dial of a clock, right? This is, just a second guys, just a second. Yeah, so we all know that dial of the clock in most of the scenarios is circular. The way you can see on the screen right now, right? On the screen. Apart from that, if you talk about minute hand and hour hand, they move in a circular direction. This is quite obvious. So before asking any difficult question, before talking about any fundamental and basics of clock, let me ask you 2-3 very easy questions. I request you to just pay attention to my words, listen to my question first, and then you can answer. See, if I ask you, what is the angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 3? What is the angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 3? So I know a lot of you will say, sir, angle is 90 degree. Why? Because sir, at sharp 3, our hand will point towards 3 and minute hand will point towards 12. So this angle has to be 90 degree. Now, what about this remaining part? Now, this remaining part will definitely be 360 minus 90, which is 270. So I can say that at sharp 3, angle between minute hand and hour hand is either 90 degree or 270 degree. Similarly, if we talk about a situation of 9, at 9, minute hand will point towards 12 and hour hand will point towards 9. So again, at sharp 9, angle between the hands is either 90 degree or 270 degree. Okay, I hope this is very easy to answer. Now, what if I ask you, what is the angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 12? So at sharp 12, sir, at sharp 12, minute hand and hour hand, they both will point towards 12. Pretty easy. So, sir, angle at sharp 12 will be 0 degree. Yes, you guys are absolutely correct. Angle at sharp 12 is 0 degree. Similarly, I would like to ask one more question, and that is, what about angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 6? Tell me, think about it. What gonna be the angle? Sir, at sharp 6, minute hand will point towards 12, but our hand will point towards 6. So this angle will definitely be 180 degree. The other angle will definitely be 180 degree. So at sharp 6, we're gonna get only one angle, which is 180 degrees. So at sharp 6, whether you move in a clockwise manner or you move in anti-clockwise manner, in both the scenarios, angle is what? 180 degree. Now there are some geometrical terms, some mensurational terms. So see, we all know that 90 degree is also called perpendicular or right angle. So angle of 90 degree and angle of 270 degree, meaningly hands are perpendicular to each other or hands are at right angle to each other. So 90 degree is also known as perpendicular. All right, perpendicular, or we can say hands are at right angle to each other. Pretty easy. Now, what about 0 degree? At 0 degree, you can say hands are together. At 0 degree, we can say hands are together. At 0 degree, we can say hands are overlapping. All right, so keep this term in your mind as well. So at 0 degree, hands are overlapping. At 0 degree, hands are coinciding. So there is coincidence between the hands at 0 degree, which is at sharp 12. All right. And what about this 180 degree? Now, at 0 degree also we can say hands are in straight line. Hands are in straight line, pointing in same direction. Pointing in same direction. So similarly, if I talk about 6 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, which is 180 degrees, so I can say hands are again in straight line, but they are pointing in opposite direction. Minute hand is pointing towards 12 and the hour hand is pointing towards 6. So hands are pointing in opposite direction. So these are some geometrical terms that we must know. I think you guys know it. Now don't say, sir, I haven't read geometry after 10th. No one read geometry after 10th. See, scientists, they do something else. Okay. Only the core mathematician learn geometry, or they read geometry after 10th. Okay, so these are some basic fundamentals that we know about clock. Now, what if I ask you, what is angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 3:15? Pause the video, think about it. I know a lot of you will say, sir, angle will be 0 degree. If I ask you, what is angle between the hands of the clock at sharp 3:30? Now I know a lot of you will say, sir, 90 degree. But this time, neither 0 degree is correct answer nor 90 degree is correct answer. Why? Why? Let me show you why. This is the reason. Check out. At sharp 3:15, minute hand will point towards 3, but our hand will be somewhere ahead of 3. Please check out this second diagram. This is the situation of 3:15. At 3:15, do you think this angle is 0 degree? Do you think this angle is 0 degree? No, angle is not 0 degree. Now similarly, if you talk about 3:30, at 3:30, minute hand will point towards 6, but our hand will be somewhere between 3 and 4. So do you think this angle is 90 degree? No. So why it happens? Because both minute hand and hour hand, they are moving simultaneously. And because of geometry of their movement, at sharp 3, angle is 90, but at 3:30, angle is not 90. Okay, so let us learn some more fundamentals, some more technical terms related to clock, and then we will move on to the questions. Okay, so the very first point that I would like you guys to note down is that now onwards, the technical term for every bigger division of the clock is 1 hour's space. What does it mean? It means if you talk about this space, which is there between 12 and 1. So this space between 12 and 1 is a space of 1 hour. Similarly, if you talk about this space between 2 and 3, this space between 2 and 3, again, this is a space. This complete is a space of 1 hour's space. All right. You talk about between 6 and 7. Again, between 6 and 7, it is a space of 1 hour. It is what? A space of 1 hour. But if I ask you this about this, 8 to 10, if I ask you this space between 8 to 10, 8 to 10 is a space of 2 hours. 8 to 10 is a space of what? 2 hours. So we know on the dial of the clock, there are 12 bigger division. There are what? 12 bigger divisions. So that is why there are 12 hours spaces. So on the dial of the clock, we are having 12 bigger divisions. So that is why there are 12 hours spaces. All right. Let's move on. Okay. Now, if I talk about any R space, let's talk about this R space that is between 2 and 3. This R space that is between 2 and 3. This R space is further divided into 5 smaller parts. So every R space is further divided into 5 smaller parts. So these smaller part is called 1 minute's space. What is this? This is 1 minute's space. So remember, every R's space, 1 HS, is further equal to 5 minute spaces. Okay. So 12 R spaces are equal to 60 minute spaces, because on the dial of the clock in total there are 12 bigger division, meaningly 12 hours spaces, and on the dial of the clock there are 60 smaller division, which is 60 minute spaces. I hope this is clear to everyone. All right. So let's move on. I know you know it, but still I want you to get acquainted with these terms. Okay. Let's move on to the second point. Now, second point is all about angle around the clock. Okay. So if you talk about central point of the clock, so total angle around this central point of the clock is 360 degree. Total angle on the dial of the clock, or you can say on the around the central point of the clock, is what? 360 degree. Now, from here, what you guys can draw? See, we know there are 12 hours spaces on the dial of the clock. There are in total 12 hour spaces on the dial of the clock, and there are in total 360 degree on the dial of the clock, because dial is circular, which means 1 hour's space will be equal to an angle of 360 upon 12, which is what? 30 degrees simply. What does it mean? It means if you talk about this angle between 2 and 3, this angle that is there between 2 and 3, this angle, which is 1 hour's space, it is simply equal to what? 30 degree. You talk about angle because of any hour's space. So let's talk about this angle which is there between 7 and 8. Between 7 and 8, it is a space of 1 hour, and it is also equal to what? 30 degree. It is also equal to what? 30 degree. Now, if you talk about this hour's space between 4 and 6, this hour's space between 4 and 6. So between 4 and 6, it is 2 hours space. Okay, visualize it, 2 hours space. Now I know 1 hour space is what? 30 degrees. So 2 hours space will be equal to 2 into 30, which is 60 degree, meaningly this angle from 4 to 6 or 6 to 4, this angle is what? Simply 60 degree. Please pause the video, make a note of it. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next question. Now guys, see, if you check out 1 hour's space, we know that 1 hour's space is further divided into 5 minute spaces. We know it. 1 hour's space is further divided into 5 minute spaces. All right. Okay. And I also know, and we also know that 1 hour space is equals to an angle of 30 degree, which means 5 minute spaces are equal to an angle of 30 degree, which means 1 minute space will have an angle of 30 upon 5, which is 6 degree. So remember, angle of 1 hour space is 30 degree and angle of 1 minute space is what, 6 degree, which means if you talk about this angle because of 1 minute space, the smallest angle, this angle because of 1 minute space, so this angle will simply be what, 6 degree. So angle of 1 hour space is 30 degree, angle of 1 minute space is what, 6 degree. These are important terms. Make a note of it, pause the video, note it down. Okay, and let's move on now. Let's move on now. Further, if you talk about speed of hands, now you can know. So suppose we know that from 12 to 12, suppose our hand is pointing towards 12. Okay. Just a second, guys. Don't write it. Sorry. Just a second. Okay. Assume our hand is pointing towards 12. Our hand is pointing towards 12. Then after how many minutes? Our hand will point towards 1. Assume our hand is pointing towards 12. Assume it. So after how many minutes our hand will point towards 1? We all know our hand will take 60 minutes. So I can say in 60 minutes, ours hand covers 1 hour's space or 5 minute spaces or 30 degree. Now imagine it. Our hand is pointing towards 12. Our hand is pointing towards 12. So after how many minutes? Our hand will point towards 1. It is exactly 60 minutes. What is it? It is exactly 60 minutes. So in 60 minutes, we can say in 60 minutes, our hand covers 1 hour's space, or we can say in 60 minutes, our hand covers 5 minutes space, or we can say in 60 minutes, our hand is covering what? 30 degree. So in 60 minutes, angle covered by our hand is 30 degree. So in 1 minute, angle covered by our hand will be 30 by 60, which is half a degree. So what we can say now? We can say speed of ours hand. We can say speed of ours hand will simply be equal to half degree per minute. Please make a note of it. Pause the video, make a note of it. Hurry up. Hurry up. All right. So I hope now we know that speed of our hand is what? Half degree per minute, and 1 hour space is an angle of what? 30 degree. 1 minute space is an angle of what? 6 degree. Okay. Let us talk about next point. Okay. Now assume minute hand is pointing towards 12. Assume minute hand is pointing towards 12. Okay. So after how many minutes? After how many minutes it will point towards 12 again? So minute hand is pointing towards 12. So after how many minutes it will point towards 12 again? Obviously after 60 minutes. After 60 minutes. All right. So we can say in 60 minutes. We can say in 60 minutes, minutes hand cover 60 minutes spaces. In 1 hour, that is in 60 minutes. In 1 hour, that is in 60 minutes, minute hand goes once around the dial. Once around the dial, meaningly minute hand covers how many minute spaces? 60 minute spaces, or we can say minute hand covers how many hours spaces? 12 hours spaces, or we can say, okay, or we can say minute hand covers an angle of 360 degree, because angle around the dial is 360 degree, which means in 60 minutes, minute hand covers 360 degree. So in 1 minute, minute hand will cover 360 upon 60, which comes out to be equal to 6 degree. So we can say speed of minute's hand. Now please write it down. Speed of minute's hand is 6 degree per minute. Speed of hour's hand was half degree per minute. Speed of minute's hand is simply 6 degree per minute. Alright guys, please make a note of it. Let's move on. Now in a clock, if hands are not overlapping, then you will find out two cases. This is your point number 5. If in a clock hands are not overlapping, so there are gonna be two cases. First case, either minute, see, first case, you will find a situation where minute hand is behind hour's hand. Minute hand is behind hour's hand. For example, think about a situation of 3 o'clock. We're gonna move in clockwise direction only. Alright, remember it. So at sharp 3, minute hand is behind hour's hand. Alright. So as soon as the time will start flowing, immediately after 3, right now angle between the hands is 9 degree. Right now time is 3 o'clock. We are assuming it, okay? At sharp 3, minute hand is behind hour's hand. We're gonna move in clockwise direction only. So at sharp 3, angle between the hands of the clock is 90 degree. As soon as the time will start flowing, the angle between the hands will start decreasing. So if minute hand is behind hour's hand, the angle between the hands, the gap between the hands will decrease with every passing minute. It will decrease with every passing minute. Or case number 2. Okay, suppose minute hand is ahead of hour's hand. For example, a situation of 3:30. A situation of 3:30. Okay, let me show you that situation. A situation of 3:30. Now at 3:30, you can see minute hand is ahead of hour's hand. We will move in clockwise direction only. So at 3:30, minute hand is ahead of hour's hand, and this is the angle. Now as soon as time will start flowing after 3:30, this gap between the hands will start increasing. You can observe these points by taking a real wall clock also, the big wall clock also, and you can move the knob of the clock to move the hands. All right. So if minute hand is ahead of hour hand, the gap between the hands will increase. If minute hand is behind hour's hand, the gap between the hands will decrease, and it happens at a particular rate. And that rate is 11/2 degree per minute. Whether increment is going on or decrement is going on, it happens at a particular rate, and both of these rates are same, which is 11/2 degree per minute. And this is also called, this point is also called gain of minute hand over the hour's hand. This point is also called gain of minute hand over the hour's hand. Okay, now why it happens? Because hour hand and minute hand, they move in the same direction. So according to time, speed, distance, if two objects are moving in same direction, then their relative speed will be equal to difference of their actual speeds. Speed of minute hand is 6 degree, speed of hour hand is half degree. If you subtract it, you're gonna get 11/2 degree per minute. So 11/2 degree per minute is what? The relative speeds of the hand. And this relative speed is also called as gain. It is also called as gain of minute hand over the hour hand. What does it mean? That in every minute, minute hand covers 11/2 degree extras as compared to hour's hand. Okay. Now in terms of degree spaces, we already know that MH, minute hand, in 1 hour covers 60 minute spaces. So in 1 hour, minute hand will move from 12 till 12. In 1 hour, minute hand goes once around the dial. So in 1 hour, minute hand covers how many minute spaces? 60 minute spaces. And if you talk about hour hand, so in 1 hour, see, in 1 hour, suppose our hand is pointing towards 12. So after 1 hour, our hand will be pointing towards 1. So in 1 hour, our hand moves only 1 hour space, that is 5 minute spaces. So in a time duration of 1 hour, minute hand covers 55 minute spaces extra. 55 minute space is extra as compared to hours hand, and that is why we can say in every 1 hour, in every 1 hour, minute hand gain 55 minute spaces over the hours hand. Okay, so these are some technical terms. Sometime examiner will ask these terms directly in the questions, so we must know it. Okay, let's move on to the next question now, next situation now. In this chapter, we will talk about 3 types of problem. The very first case, when we have to find out angle for a given time. Second case, we have to find out time for a given angle, and third case is a case of faulty clocks. So let us solve all these points one at a time, all these kind of variation one at a time. Now please note down fourth point also. So fourth point over here is the formula. So formula goes like theta is equals to mod of 30 into h minus 11 by 2 into m. Now what do we mean by theta here? Theta is angle. It is angle between minute hand and hours hand. Okay, what is h? H is hours time. What is h? H is hours time. And what is m? M is minutes time. What is m? M is minutes time. All right, so this is the formula. Okay, now let us solve a problem one at a time. So this is your first case when we have to find out angle for the given time. Okay, in this question we are looking for angle between the hands of the clock at 4:40. So we are looking for angle, which means we want to find out value of theta, and I know angle between the hands of the clock is equals to mod of 30 into h minus 11 by 2 into m. Okay, now in this question, in 440, what is 4? It is hours time. What is 40? It is minutes time. So if you insert these values in the formula, what are we gonna get? Okay, so we're gonna get 30 into 4. Why 4? Because value of h is 4. At 440 hours the time is 4, and at 440 minutes time is 40. So value of theta will be 30 into 4 minus 11 by 2 into m. Value of m is 40. Now if you solve this, it gonna gives us 120 minus 220, which comes out to be equal to mod of minus 100. Okay, mod of minus 100. Now remember, what do we mean by mode? So if we have something inside mode and it is equals to, let's say, 4. So if we want to open it, it means x can be equal to positive 2, or it means x can be equal to negative 2. Similarly, in this case, this negative 100 can be equal to positive theta, or negative 100 can be equal to negative theta. So in the first case, you are getting negative value of angle. So ignore this. In the second case, negative got cancelled out, and theta comes out to be equal to 100. So from the second case, you are getting positive value of theta. So that is why you will consider it. So at 4:40, angle between the hands of the clock is 100 degree. Okay, now what does it mean? So we know that at 4:40, minute hand will point towards 8 like this, and hour hand will be somewhere between 4 and 5, but more towards 5, something like this. Our hand will be somewhere between 4 and 5, but more towards 5. So this angle is 100 degree. This angle is what? 100 degree. Now what if 100 degree was not given here? So what you gonna do? Use formula, calculate the value, and find out the other part. So 100 degree is this part. So other part will be 360 minus 100, which is what? 260 degree. So either you will find 100 degree in the option, or you will find 260 degree in the option. So answer over here is what? Option D. At 4:40, angle between the hands of the clock is what? It is 100 degree. All right, let's move on to the next question. Let us solve this. In this question, value of h, hours time is 10 and value of minutes time is also 10. So if we insert these values of h and m in the formulas, then theta angle will be equal to 30 into h is 10 minus 11 by 2 into m is also 10. So theta over here will comes out to be, value of h is given to us, it is it is 10. So it comes out to be equal to 300 minus 2 5s are 10, 300 minus 55, and 300 minus 55 is 245 degree. So if you simplify it and if you ignore the negative value of angle, you're gonna get 245 degree. What are you gonna get? You're gonna get 245 degree. What does it mean? It means we know that at 10:10, minute hand will point sharply towards 2 and hour hand will be somewhere between 10 and 11. It is a situation of 10:10. Hour hand will be ahead of 10, somewhere between 10 and 11, but more towards 10. So this angle, this larger angle which is visible right now, this angle gonna be 245 degree. But 245 is not present in the option. 245 is not present in the option. So what are you guys gonna do? Calculate the other part. So for other part, simply subtract 245. Simply subtract 245 from 360. If you subtract 245 from 360, so we're gonna get 115, because 245 plus 100 is 345. So it comes out to be equal to 115 degree. Answer over here is option B. So this is how you can insert the values of the formulas. You can use the formulas to find out angle between the given hand for a given time. Okay, so let's move on. It's a PYQ. In this question, your value of h is 8. It is 8 hours something, and your value of minute is what? 34 by 11. It's a mixed fraction. How we can resolve a mixed fraction? So for resolving this mixed fraction, do this: 30 into 11 plus 4. 30 into 11 plus 4 in the numerator, divide by 11. It comes out to be equal to 334 upon 11. Now what is the formula? Formula is theta is equals to mod of 30 into h. H over here is 8 minus 11 by 2 into m. M over here is 334 upon 11. Now if you simplify it, 11 goes, 2 1s are 2, 2 6s are 12, 2 7s are 14. So it comes out to be equal to 30 into 8, which is 240 minus 167. So it comes out to be equal to 334. Yeah, it is absolutely correct. So it is equals to 73 degree. If you ignore the negative value of angle, you're gonna get 73 degree finally. Okay, now 834 by 11. So at 834 by 11, so minute hand at 834 by 11, the situation will be, the minute hand will be a little bit ahead of 6. Minute hand will be a little bit ahead of 6, and hour hand will be 8:30. It is right. Hour hand will be a little bit ahead of the central point of 8 and 9. At 8:30, the minute hand will be little bit ahead of 6 and the hour hand will be little bit ahead of the midpoint of 8 and 9, and this angle comes out to be equal to what? This angle comes out to be equal to 73 degree, and this is what we were looking for. I hope guys the very first part is clear to all of you. Let's move on to the next case. Now in this second situation, we will find out time for a given angle. What kind of question you can expect in this type? In this type, you will expect questions like this. The structure of question will be like, at what time between 5 and 6 the hands of the clock are perpendicular to each other? Now, whether examiner is using perpendicular word or examiner is using right angled or examiner is using 90 degree. So perpendicular, right angle, they all means an angle of what? 90 degree. Or examiner can use this technical term also. Examiner can ask you at what time between 5 and 6 the hand of the clock are 15 minute spaces apart. So again, we know that 1 minute space is of 6 degree. So 15 minute space will be of 15 into 6, which is 90 degree. So a gap of 15 minute spaces again means what? 90 degree. And examiner can write a gap of 3 hours spaces between minute hand and hour hand. Again, we know that 1 hour space is of what? 30 degree. So 3 hour spaces are of what? 3 into 30, which is 90 degrees. So this is the case. Okay. Now, we are looking for a time between 5 and 6. So if you talk about any particular point of time between 5 and 6, examples are 5:10, 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, 5:55, 5:58. Whatever point of time you're gonna talk about between 5 and 6, in all those scenarios, your hours time will be 5 only. See, 5:30 hours the time is 5. 5:35 hours the time is 5 again. 5:50 hours the time is 5 again. So if you talk about any point of time between 5 and 6, your value of h, hours the time, your value of h will always be what? 5. Okay. And value of minute is not known to us. This is what we want to calculate. Now we will be using that same formula. We know that theta is equals to 30 into h minus 11 by 2 into m. We will be utilizing the same formula for type 2 also. Pretty easy. Now theta bole to angle. Theta, what does theta means? Angle. And in this question we are talking about perpendicularity. We are talking about right angle, which means value of theta is 90 degree, is equals to 30 into value of h is what? 5 minus 11 by 2 into m. If we simplify it further, we're gonna get 150 minus 11 by 2m. Now you know that if you want to open modulus, you're gonna get two different cases. You're gonna get what? Two different scenarios. What are those scenarios? See, the first one, this value which is inside the bracket 150 minus 11 by 2m can be equal to positive 90, and this value which is inside the bracket 150 minus 11 by 2m can be equal to negative 90. Both are possible here, because if you write mod of x, if you say mod of x equal to 2, it means x can be equal to positive 2 or x can be equal to negative 2. So applying this concept of modulus, you can get two values here. Now if you simplify, so it comes out to be equal to minus 11 by 2m is equals to minus 90 minus 150, which comes out to be equal to 11 by 2m is equals to minus 90 was positive, it comes out to be equal to minus 60, 60, this negative gone, this negative gone, which implies m comes out to be equal to 120 upon 11, and if you simplify this 120 upon 11, you're gonna get 10 by 11. Now if you divide 120 by 11, if you divide 120 by 11, your quotient is 10, your remainder is 10. So quotient, how do we write mixed fraction? Quotient in front, remainder in numerator and divisor 11 in the denominator. So this is how we can represent something in mixed fraction. So what you guys can say? Now hours time was 5, and minutes time comes out to be equal to 5, 10, 10 by 11. At this point of time, you will get a situation where angle between the hands of the clock will definitely be 90 degree for the first time. Just imagine At 5:10, minute hand will be somewhere ahead of 2, a little bit ahead of 2. Hour's hand will be a little bit ahead of 5. And this angle, if you measure using that D of your geometry box, will definitely be equal to 90 degree. Okay, will definitely be equal to 90 degree. So this is the first case. Now, what if I solve this second case? What if I solve this second case? This second case. Okay. If you solve this second case, you're going to get minus 11 by 2m is equals to minus 90 minus 150, which comes out to be equal to 11 by 2m is equal to minus 240. Okay, now negative got cancelled out. M comes out to be equal to 480 upon 11. Now, how to write 480 upon 11 in mixed fraction? So, simply divide 480 by 11. Now, you know 11 4s are 44. You're going to get 40 here. Now, you know 11 3s are 33. So, 7 in the remainder. So, how to write a mixed fraction? You're going to write down quotient in front. Okay, remainder in numerator and divisor in the denominator. So this is how we write mixed fraction. So 480 by 11 is what? It is 43 7 by 11. What does it mean? Hour's time was okay. Hour's time was still fixed. It was 5. But you get second value of you got second value of minute, which is 43 7 by 11. So at this point of time you will get 90 degree again, but for the second time. In the first case, minute hand was behind hour's hand and angle was 90 degree. In second case, minute hand is ahead of hour's hand and angle is still 90 degree. Let me show you. At 5:43, hour's hand will be somewhere between 5 and 6, but more towards 6, and minute hand will be 41, 42, 43, like this. Now, if you use that D of geometry box and you check this angle out, this angle will definitely be 90 degree. So at 5:10, 10 by 11, minute hand was behind hour's hand. At 5:43, 7 by 11, minute hand was ahead of hour's hand. And in both of these scenarios, angle was what? Angle was 90 degree. Understood? Shall we move on? Now, let me show you something interesting here. Okay. Now, let me teach you something interesting here. Okay. So, please make a note of it. Pause the video, note it down. Pause the video, note it down. Okay. Okay. So I'll talk about all the interesting point later on. So let's focus on maths first. Okay, let's focus on the type of question from the second type first. Okay, now let's do one more question. In this question, examiner says, at what time between 3 and 4 hands of the clock will be in straight line, pointing towards opposite direction? Hands are in straight line pointing towards opposite direction. If one hand is pointing towards north, other must point towards south. If one hand is pointing towards east, other must pointing towards west. Okay. Now, if hands are in straight line pointing towards opposite direction, it means we are looking for an angle of what? 180 degree. It means we are looking for a gap of what? 30-minute space. Why 30-minute space? Because 1 minute space, sir, 1 minute space is of 6 degree. So 30-minute space will be 30 into 6, which is 180 degree. And it can also be equal to, examiner can either write straight line pointing towards opposite direction, or he can simply write an angle of 180 degree, or he can write a gap of 30-minute spaces, or he can write a gap of 6 hour spaces as well. All right. So 1 hour space is 30 degrees. So 6 hour spaces are what? 30 into 6. Again, it is what? 180 degree. Now, if you talk about any point of time between 3 and 4, any point of time between 3 and 4, angle, the hour's time will be 3 for sure. At 3:10, what is hours the time? 3. At 3:15, what is hours the time? 3. At 3:45, what is hours the time? 3. So if you talk about any point of time between 3 and 4, hours the time will always be what? 3. Okay. So let me tell you about this. See, angle that we are looking in this question is 180 degree. So theta, which is 180 here, is equals to mod of 30 into h. H is 3 here, minus 11 by 2 into m is what we are looking for. Value of m is what we are looking for. So if I simplify it, it comes out to be equal to 90 minus 11 by 2 into m. Now if you want to open this modulus, you will get two values. See, this inside the mode 90 minus 11 by 2m can be equal to positive 180, and this 90 minus 11 by 2m can be equal to negative 180. So both are possible. So let us solve this first one first. So minus 11 by 2m is equals to 180 minus 90. So minus 11 by 2m is equals to positive 90, and m from here will come out to be equal to minus 180 upon 11. Now guys, we never talk about time in negative form. We never talk about time in negative form. So that is why ignore this negative value of m. Okay, so that is why ignore this negative value of m. Let us check out the second equation. So from the second equation, minus 11 by 2m is equals to minus 180 minus 90. Minus 11 by 2m will be equal to minus 270 here. Negative got cancelled out, and m 2 on the other side will get multiplied with 270, give us 540 upon 11. Now how to write 540 by 11 in terms of mixed fraction? I've told you earlier, but let us learn this point for one more time. So we know that 11 fours are 44. Okay, so 0, 100. Okay, now we know 11 nines are what? 99. So how to write 540 upon 11 in terms of mixed fraction? You will write this quotient in front, remainder 1 in the numerator, and 11 in the denominator. So this time you got positive value of m, so you will consider it. So see, between 3 and 4, value of h was 3, hours the time was 3, and the minute time that we found out is 49 1 by 11. So we can say at this point of time, hands of the clock will be in straight line, will be in exact straight line, but they will point towards opposite direction, which means at this point of time, angle between the hands of time will surely be 180 degrees. So let me show you. Imagine this time. Okay, at 3:49, hour's hand will be somewhere between 3 and 4, but more towards 4. Okay, and minute hand will be like this. So okay, so minute hand will be between 9 and 10, but it gonna be somewhere around 9:49 something. And if you use d to find out this angle, you're gonna find out this angle to be 180 degree. Okay, so at 3:49 1 by 11, angle between the hands of the clock was what? It was 180 degree. Okay, now it might possible some of you may have thought, sir, at 3:45, but that is wrong, because both hands of the clocks are moving. That is why this is how you must solve questions. Okay, this is how you should solve questions. Okay, now let us talk about this question. Examiner wants to find out a time between 7 and 8, and hands of the clock will be in straight line pointing in same direction. Meaningly, we are looking for an angle of 0 degree. We are looking for a gap of 0 minute spaces. We are looking for a gap of 0 hour spaces. We are looking for a situation of overlapping. We are looking for a situation of coincidence. All right. So it is quite obvious between 7 and 8 hours the time will be 7. Angle over here is 0 degree, so formula goes like 0 will be equal to 30 into 7 minus 11 by 2 into m. Now if you solve this, so if after equality we are having 0 in case of mode, so you can simply open it. So it comes out to be equal to 3 into 7, 30 into 7, 210 minus 11 by 2m is equals to 0. You can simply write it 0. Okay, so from here minus 11 by 2m is equals to minus 210, negative negative cancelled out, m comes out to be equal to 420 upon 11. Now if you solve this, it comes out to be equal to 38 2 by 11. 38 2 by 11. So you can say at 7 38 2 by 11, at this point of time the angle between the hands of the clock will be 0 degree at 7:38. So 7:38 minute hand and hour hand, they both will be in same line like this. Okay, this is the situation. Okay, I hope guys you understood it. So we talked about how to find out 90 degree, how to find out 0 degree. We talked about how to find out 180 degree angle between two given hour. For example, 7 to 8, 6 to 9, so 6 to 7, these kind of scenarios. I hope type 2 is clear to all of you. I hope you know how to use formula to calculate answers in type 2. Shall we move on? Okay, let's talk about some very fundamental and interesting facts. Okay, so what are those interesting facts? See, we type 2, 5 to 6 is a duration of 1 hour, and we got 90 degree for how many times? 2 times. Okay, so let me show you something. So what we generally think? We generally think that in 1 hour we got 90 degree, for 2 times. So obviously in 2 hours 90 degree must form 4 times, and in 12 hour 90 degree must form 24 times, and in 24 hours, that is in 1 day, 90 degree must form 48 times. So this is what we think, but it is not the reality. Remember, if you talk about generally, or you talk about a duration of 1 hour, 90 degree only forms 2 times. Okay, but from 2 to 4 is a duration of 2 hours, and 8 to 10 is a duration of 2 hours again. In these duration 2 to 4, we feel like 2 to 4 is a duration of 2 hours. So 90 degree must form 4 times, but not. From 2 to 4, 90 degree forms only 3 times. Similarly, from 8 to 10, 90 degree forms only 3 times. And because of this exception, 90 degree form only 22 times in 12 hours and 44 times in 24 hours. Please make a note of it. So if you ask me, sir, 12 to 1, 90 degree will form how many times? I will say 2. From 1 to 2, 90 degree will form how many times? I will say 2. But from 2 to 3, 90 degree will form how many times? Only once. Next 90 degree will be at sharp 3. Okay, next 90 degree will be between 3 and 4 only once. But from 4 to 5, again 90 degree will form 2 times. 5 to 6, 90 degree will form 2 times. 6 to 7, 90 degree will form 2 times. 7 to 8, 90 degree will form 2 times. But 8 to 9, 90 degree will form only once. Next 90 degree will be at sharp 9. Okay, and then 9 to 10, 90 degree will form only once, and 10 to 11, 90 degree will form 2 times. 11 to 12, 90 degree will form 2 times. So in this way, if you calculate, you will find in 12 hours, 90 degree forms 22 times, and in 24 hours or in a day 90-degree forms 44 times. Understood? Shall we move on? Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about a case of 180-degree now. Right? Now, what we feel, see, 3 to 4 was a situation of 1 hour. So, and we got 180-degree only one. Okay. So generally we feel like 180-degree will form only once in 1 hour. So it must form 12 times in 12 hours and 24 times in 24 hours, but it is not. 180-degree forms only one time in a duration of 1 hour, but from 5 to 7, it is a duration of 2 hours, and in these 2 hours again it forms only once, and because of this it forms 11 times in 12 hours and 22 times in 24 hours. Now what I want to say here, see, if you ask me, sir, 180-degree between 12 to 1, how many times? One time. 180-degree between 1 and 2, how many times? One time. Between 2 and 3, how many times? One time. Between 3 and 4, how many times? One time. Between 4 and 5, how many times? One time. Between 5 and 6, how many times? No 180-degree. Sir, what about sharp 6? I would say yes, one time. What about 6 and 7? I would say no 180-degree will form. Okay, now what about 7 and 8? It will forms only once. What about 8 and 9? Only once. What about 9 and 10? Only once. What about 10 and 11? Only once. What about 11 and 12? Only once. So in this way, in 12 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in 12 hours, 180-degree forms only 11 times, and in 22 hours it forms, in 24 hours it forms 22 times. So this is the exception. All right. Okay, I hope guys you understood it. Let's move on. Now, same is the situation for 0-degree also. So 0-degree forms only one time in a duration of 1 hour. But from 11 to 1, it only forms one time, and because of this it forms 11 times in 12 hours and 22 times in 24 hours. What does it mean? If you ask me, sir, between 1 and 2, 0-degree forms how many times? I will say one time. Between 2 and 3, 0-degree will form how many times? One time. Between 3 and 4, how many times? One time. Between 4 and 5, how many times? One time. Between 5 and 6, how many times? One time. Between 6 and 7, how many times? One time. Between 6 and 7, 0-degree will form how many times? One time. 7 and 8, 0-degree will form how many times? One time. 8 to 9, how many times? One time. 9 to 10, how many times? One time. 10 to 11, how many times? One time. But if you ask me, sir, 0-degree will form how many times between 11 and 12? I will say it won't form. 0-degree will at sharp 12 you will find 0-degree for once, and between 12 and 1, how many times 0-degree will be there? No. So in this way, in 12 hours, 0-degree forms only 11 times, and in 24 hours, it forms 24 times. Okay. Okay. I hope this is clear. Please make a note of it. Let's move on to the next point. Now, if we are not considering the direction of hands, see, at 0-degree, hands are in straight line, as well as at 180-degree hands are in straight line. So if we are not considering the direction of hands, in that case for us 0-degree and 180-degree will be one as same thing. Both are, in both the scenarios, hands are in straight line. So point number 9 says, if we are concerned with straight line only, irrespective of pointing direction of hands, then In a clock, you will find 22 straight lines in 12 hours and 44 straight lines in 24 hours. You will find 11 straight line because of 0 degree and 11 straight line because of 180 degree in 12 hours. So 22 straight line in 12 hours and 44 straight lines in 24 hours. Now, if you talk about a right clock, so in a right clock, if both the hands are starting moving together from the same position, then you will find that they will coincide after every these many minutes. So in a right clock, you will find 0 degree. So first 0 degree and second 0 degree. First coincidence and second coincidence. The time period between two coincidences, two consecutive coincidences in the right clock is this much, 65 5 by 11. If you talk about time duration between two consecutive coincidences in the right clock, so this time is what, 65 5 by 11 minutes. Okay, so I hope you are little bit fascinated towards clocks now. Sometimes clocks show such a symmetry that its symmetry becomes its exceptional also. So 6 sharp 3 is quite obvious time, but at the same point of time, sharp 3 is an exception for 90 degree also. Okay, so clock is very fascinating instrument actually. So clock is showing us time. We use clock for managing time. So it is, see, everything is about time actually, most of the time. Okay, and if you talk about Einstein, he also talked about time. So he gave a very famous equation, right? E is equals to mc square. He talked about theory of relativity. So if you talk about the greatest scientific achievement that is there in the nature, it is all about time space actually. So time is very fundamental scientific instrument actually. Okay, so let's move on. So see, in this case, consider the following statement: between 360 and 317, both hour hand and minute hand coincide. So yes, this statement is absolutely correct. So if you find out a time between 3 and 4 when 0 degree will be present, the time between 0 and 4 at which 0 degree will be present, if you use that formula, you're gonna get 316 4 by 11 something. Just give me a second, let me think. Yeah, it is. So you know this 316 4 by 11 is lying between 316 and 317. So that is why statement 1 is correct. Over here statement 2 is also correct. It says between 4:50 p.m. and 4:59 p.m. both minute hand and second hand coincide. Yes, imagine it. At 4:58, minute hand will point towards 58th minute and second hand will point towards 12. Right after 1 minute, the minute hand will point towards 59th minute, but the second hand will go once around the dial. In 1 minute, second hand goes once around the dial. So definitely that second hand has overtaken the minute hand from 4:58 to 4:59, because in 1 minute, minute hand has moved from 58th minute to 59th minute, and during that 1 minute, a second hand has gone once around the dial. So definitely there must be a coincidence. That is why statement 2 was absolutely correct. Answer of this question is option C. Let's move on to the next question. This is quite easy. If you read this question properly, definitely you're gonna get 65 as an answer here, because in this question examiner is talking about the nearest time period in terms of integer between two coincidences, between two overlapping of hands. It is 65 5 by 11. So nearest integer to this value is 65 5 by 11, which is 65 here, option C. Now let's talk about faulty clock. So suppose if there is a right clock and then there is a faulty clock. If right clock is showing 6 a.m. and faulty clock is showing 6:10 a.m., then definitely we can say faulty clock is 10-minute fast. Faulty clock is what? 10-minute fast. Or on the other hand, suppose if right clock is showing 7 a.m. and faulty clock is showing 6:55 a.m. So in this case, we will say faulty clock is 5-minute slow. In this case, we can say faulty clock is 10-minute fast. You know it. Okay. I hope this is quite obvious to all of you. Sir, ye to kya hai? So we know it, sir. Okay. Apart from that, I would like you to focus on these 3 questions that I will be asking now. Please be careful. Okay. My first question. If I ask you price of 50 apples, if I ask you price of 50 apples is equals to rupee 200, or okay, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Okay. Oh, let's continue. I'm really sorry for this disturbance. Now, 50 apple costs you 400 rupees. So what will be the cost of one apple? Sir, it is very easy. Cost of one apple will be 400 upon 50. Sir, it will be rupee 8. Okay. It will be what? Rupee 8. No problem, sir. Very easy. But I would like you to focus on one point here. So it was 50 apples in the first line and 1 apple in the second line. So in the first line, it was apples on the left, as well as in the second line, it is apples on the left. Okay. In the first line, we are having rupees on the right, and in the second also we are having rupees on the right. Okay. Now, second, let me make this question little bit difficult. If I ask you price of 12 cows, price of 12 cows is equals to price of 6 buffaloes. So I'm writing BF for buffaloes. All right. So price of 12 cows is equals to price of 6 buffaloes. So what will be the price of 12 buffaloes? Now, don't say, sir, 6 cows. Now, this time you're gonna be wrong. Don't say this, okay? Now, so how to handle this situation? See, examiner is asking for 12 buffaloes. Examiner is asking for 12 buffaloes. So we are having buffaloes on the left. So I will twist this statement in my favor so that I can write buffaloes on the right, on the left. See, 12 cows is equal to 6 buffaloes. So definitely 6 buffaloes will be equal to 12 cows. Why I have twisted this statement? Because I want to know about 12 buffaloes. So I must talk about buffaloes on the left. Okay. So from here, price of 1 buffalo will be equal to 12 upon 6 cows, which is equals to 2 cows. And finally, I want to inquire about 12 buffaloes. So price of 12 buffaloes will be equal to 2 into 12 cows, which is equals to 24 cows. So this is how we solve questions of unitary method. Okay. So I know you guys can handle it, but still I want you to go like this. See, in this question, I want to know about buffaloes. So I twisted my given information in my favor. So I want to know about buffalo. Buffalo has been written on the left side. So we can see buffaloes on the left, 6 buffaloes on the left, 1 buffalo on the left, and now 12 buffalo on the left. Cows on the right, cows on the right, and cows on the right. Now, let me make this question little bit difficult. Now, if I ask you, if 24 hours of right clock, if I ask you 24 hours of right clock is equals to 36 hours of faulty clock. So if question is like this, okay, try to understand this. If I'm asking 24 hours of right clock, R for right, is equals to 36 hours of faulty clocks. So find out 20 hours of faulty will be equal to how many hours of right. Okay, now see, I want to know about 20 hours of faulty. I want to know about 20 hours of faulty. So I will twist this information in my favor. Because I want to know about faulty, so I will twist it like 36 hours of faulty is equals to 24 hours of right. I'm gonna twist it like this. Why? Because in this question we want to know about faulty clock, so that is why I must write faulty on the left. So 36 hours of faulty will be equal to 24 hours of right. So 1 hour of faulty will be equal to 24 upon 36 hours of right. I want to inquire 20 hours. So 20 hours of faulty will be equal to 24 upon 36 into 20 hours of right. So this is how we solve these questions. So try focus on this. See, we want to inquire for faulty, so I wrote faulty in the first line on the left, faulty on the left, faulty on the left, faulty on the left. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let us move on now. Let us solve this question. In this question, what is given? Examiner says a clock is set right at 7 a.m. So if there is any need to set a clock right, it means that clock must be a faulty one. So according to statement 1, if right time was 7 a.m., the faulty time is also 7 a.m. because that clock, the faulty clock, has been set right at 7 a.m. meaning if right time was 7 a.m., the faulty time was also 7 a.m. So this is the meaning of the first line. Now the clock gains 12 minutes in 24 hours. What does it mean? The clock over here has been referred to faulty clock. Now, and faulty clock is gaining 12 minutes in how many hours? In 24 hours. What does it mean? It means if there are 24 hours in right clock, if in the right clock 24 hours has been elapsed, then the faulty will show 24 hour plus 10 minutes. It will be shown by, because the clock, meaningly faulty clock, is gaining 12 minutes, which means faulty clock will show 10 minutes extra as compared to right time. So right time was 24 hours, so faulty will show 10 minutes extra. So this is the meaning of the second line. Okay, now what will be the time shown by this clock? So we want to find out time shown by faulty clock. When the right time was 1 p.m. on the same day, when the right clock was showing 1 p.m. on the very same day, 1 p.m. on the very same day, meaningly if we were talking about Monday 7 a.m., so we are talking about Monday 1 p.m. So this 7 a.m. is shown by right clock. This 1 p.m. is also shown by right clock because it was right time. So 7 a.m. Monday to 1 p.m. Monday, it is a duration of 6 hours. Now try to understand these 6 hours belongs to right time, because these 7 hours are of right. 7 a.m. was of right, and this 1 p.m. was the time shown by right clock. This 1 p.m. was the time shown by right clock. So this 6 hours must belongs to right clock. I know 24 hours of right is equals to these many minutes of faulty. Okay, I want to inquire about 6 hours of right, because over here these 6 hours belongs to which clock? Right. So 6 hours of right will be equal to how many hours of faulty? This is what we are looking for. Now I want to inquire about right. So I will don't twist this information, because in this information right clock is only right clock is already in left side of equality. So right clock is already on the left side of equality. So 6 hours of right, this much time of faulty, sorry, 24 hours of right is equals to 24 hours plus 10 minutes of faulty. So from here 1 hour of right will be equal to 24 hour plus 10 minute upon 24 this much of faulty. So over here 1 hour of right will be equal to 24 gone, 1 hour, 10 upon 24. So it is not 10. I'm really sorry. Please correct this. I'm really sorry. It was 12 minutes. It was 12 minutes. So write 12 here. 12 here. Please write 12 here. Please write 12 here. 12. Okay. So 12 upon 24, half minute of faulty. So 6 hours of right will be equal to, multiply this side with 6. So 1 into 6, 6 hours, 6 into half minute, 3 minute of faulty. Which means if in the right clock total duration is 6 hours, then in the faulty clock total duration will be 6 hours plus 3 minutes. So you can see faulty clock has 3 minutes extra. So if right time was 1 p.m. then faulty will show 1 o'clock 3, which means answer is option D here. Understood everyone? Please pause the video, repeat the video, understand each and every words that has been told by me. Okay, let's move on to the next question. In this question it is given, please make this correction. It is 12 minute, 12 minute, 12 minute and 3 minute finally. In this question it is given that a wall clock moves 10 minutes fast in every 24 hours, which means if there are 24 hours in right clock, then this wall clock will show 10 minutes extra. So the wall clock will show 24 hour plus 10 minutes. So this 24 hour plus 10 minutes is the time shown by what? It is the time shown by wall clock, and it is the meaning of the first line. Okay, now the next piece of information. The clock was set right to show the correct time at 8 a.m. on Monday. The clock meaningly the wall. This wall clock was set right to show 8 a.m. on Monday. Meaningly on Monday, when right time was 8 a.m., this wall was also showing 8 a.m. This wall was also showing what? 8 a.m. Okay. When the clock, the over here has been referred to that wall clock. So when the clock shows 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, when this wall clock was showing 6 p.m., what is the correct time? So we want to find out what is the time shown by the right clock, what is the time shown by the correct clock. Now Monday 8 a.m. to Wednesday 6 p.m. So see, try to understand. Monday 8 a.m. to Tuesday 8 a.m. 24 hour. Tuesday 8 a.m. to Wednesday 8 a.m. 48 hours हो गया, right? Now 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 10 more hours. So it is 58 hours here. Now try understanding this point. These 58 hour belongs to which clock now? Wall clock. Okay. In the previous question, these 6 hours belongs to which clock? Right. In the previous question, we want to find something regarding faulty. And we know everything regarding right. But in this in this question we want to know about right clock. So how to handle this situation? So see, in this question, what you should do, see. So let me simplify this a little bit. So from here, 24 hours of right will be equal to 24 hours, and this 10 minute converted into hours, 10 by 60 minute, 10 by 60 hours of wall. Okay, if I simplify this further, so 24 hours of right is equals to 0, 0 gone, and becomes 145 upon 6 hours of wall. Okay, now these 58 hour belongs to which clock? Wall clock. So I want to know about 58 hours of wall. Okay, so see, in the given information, wall is on the right, wall clock is on the right, but in the question wall clock is on the left. So I will twist this information in my favor. Because I want to know about wall, so I will twist this information in my favor. So I can write this information as 145 upon 6 hours of wall will be equal to 24 hours of right. And from here, 1 hour of wall clock will be equal to 24 into 6 upon 145 hours of right. Okay, now this 145 upon 6 belongs to wall, this 1 hour belongs to wall, and I want to know about 58 hours. So that is why 58 hours of wall will be equal to 24 into 6 upon 145 into 58 hours of right clock. All right, now if you simplify it, 29 2s are 58, 29 5s are so it comes out to be equal to 288 upon 5 hours. Okay, so for 140, 288, so it is basically equal to 57 hours plus 36 minutes. So see, 288.5 hours. So if you divide 288 by 5, you will be getting what? 57.6 hours. So 57.6 hour meaningly 57 complete hour and 0.6 more hour. So 57 complete hour and 0.6 hours. In 1 hour we are having 60 minutes. So 0.6 hour is equal to 0.6 into 60. So 57.6 hour is basically equal to 57 complete hour and 36 more minute. So what does it mean? So it means if wall clock is showing 58 hours, then right clock will show 57 hour 36 minute. So if wall clock is showing 58 hour, the right will show 58 hour plus 36 minute. So from 8 a.m. on Monday plus 58 hour, from 8 a.m. on Monday plus 58 hour is 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So 8 a.m. on Monday plus these many hour, 57 hour 36 minute. So see, after 58 it is 6 p.m. So after 57 it must be 5 here plus 36 minute extra. So time over here should be 5:36 p.m. Answer is option A. Understood everyone? Let us move on to the next question, and this is your final question of clock. Be happy. All right. So see, this question says a watch which gains uniformly was observed to be 6 minutes slow at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, what happened when the right time was 9 a.m.? At that very moment, there was a clock, it was faulty and it was showing 6 minutes slow. It was 6 minutes slow, meaningly it was showing 8:54. 6 minutes slow, meaningly 9 minus 6 minutes. 9 minus 6 minutes is what? 8:54. And on subsequent Wednesday, meaningly Wednesday which is there just after Tuesday. On subsequent Wednesday, It was 4-minute fast at 3 p.m. So at subsequent Wednesday, when the right time was 3 p.m., this faulty was showing 4-minute extra. It was 4-minute fast. It was showing 4 p.m. Okay, now tell me one thing. 9 a.m. Tuesday to 9 a.m. Wednesday, 24 hour. 9 a.m. Tuesday to 9 a.m. Wednesday, 24 hour. Now 9 a.m. Wednesday to 3 p.m. 6 more hours. So 9 a.m. Tuesday to 3 p.m. Wednesday. This is a duration of how many hours? 30 hours. Similarly, if you find duration in faulty, so you will find this faulty was 6 behind here and 4 extra here. So this faulty has a duration of 30 hour plus 10 minute, because this faulty covered 6-minute lapse over here and it goes 4-minute extra here. So faulty will show a time duration of 30 hour plus 10 minute. Now if you compare these two timings, so you can say 10 minute are gained by faulty. 10 minutes are gained by faulty in 30 hours of right time. In 30 hours of what? Right time. So 1 minute will be gained by faulty in 30 upon 10, which is 3 hours of right time. Suppose now it is 8:54. Faulty was showing 8:54 a.m. here. Faulty was showing 8:54 a.m. here. So over here, if faulty gains 60 minutes, in this question, if faulty gains 60 minutes, obviously it will show the right time. So to gain 1 minute, time taken is 3 hours of right. So to gain 6 minutes, time taken will be 3 into 6, which is 18 hours of what? Right time. So right time in the beginning was 9 a.m. Right time in the beginning was 9 a.m. and it was 9 a.m. on Tuesday. So if you add 18 hours to this 9 a.m. of Tuesday, what you gonna get? 9 a.m. Tuesday, add 18 hours. You will be get what? 3 a.m. on Wednesday. So at 3 a.m. on Wednesday, both the clock will show the right time. Okay. So from this concept of faulty clock, you can keep one thing in your mind, that even faulty clock shows right time twice in a day. Okay. So when it is your time, obviously you will shine. Even the faulty clock is right twice in a day. So if somehow by any chance you were not able to understand maths, basic numeracy till your 10th standard, so this is your high time to show that you can be right. And if you cracked it, guys, understand it, and if you cracked it, then definitely your parents gonna be proud of yourself, your friends gonna be proud of yourself, you gonna be proud of yourself. So have that faith, learn enthusiastically. It is very important. Okay, so make me proud, make your parents proud. So thank you so much. This is all from my side for today. I hope guys you have enjoyed this. We'll meet you in the next session. Till then, please take care. Bye bye. I'm signing off. Thank you so much.